Welcome back. Well, some people have found success in opening a business during the pandemic, but there are many things to consider if you're going to become a small business owner. So, Al Spiegel is back from McClariel Helm, Bertling and Spiegel to offer some tips and things to consider before becoming your own boss. Good to see you, Al.
Yeah, good morning, Tiffany. Nice to see you as well.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us. I've been amazed at the amount of businesses that we've heard on our show opening during the pandemic. What do you think? Is it a good time to be opening for a small business?
I think the fact that we're coming out of tough times is really setting up an amazing rebound year, the end of this year and all through 2021 for small businesses. There are a lot of niches in the industry that need to be filled by small businesses, and a lot of these businesses that have been around for a little while and shut their doors, there's opportunity for new people who have experience in those businesses to come and really get a great market share right off the bat. So yeah, I think it's a great time to be thinking about a new business.
I think that sounds so good to people. And I love that you use the word opportunity because I do. I think there's lots of opportunity for people and lots of room. What are some of the legal, I guess, considerations someone should think about when they're forming a small business?
Sure. Well, I mean, the first legal consideration we think about is what type of business is it going to be? It's people that haven't run their own business before might not know this is even a thing, but you can open a corporation, you can open an LLC, you can have everything just be in your name and do what's called doing business as. So you really need to sit down and think about the pluses and minuses of each of these types of organizations and which one you want to go with. And a lot of it's going to be specific to your industry.
I assume that means there's some papers that need to be drawn up.
There are, and that, frankly, that's one of the big things that we see at my office, because a lot of folks will do things on their own, and understandably so. You're starting a small business that you don't want to go spend a bunch of money. However, they'll do things on their own, and then there'll be some kind of an issue that arises, and they'll realize they don't have the papers they need. So whatever type of business you form, it is always a good idea to have it written out. Who's in charge? What's their responsibility? What do we do, particularly if there's more than one owner? What do we do if there's a disagreement? And what happens if this business needs to get sold or closed? How's that all going to work? So definitely worth investing some time and, more importantly, some thought in those kind of things.
Yeah, I like that because you're right. I mean, that's where you can get tripped up, especially if you're starting to work with a family member or a friend as well. It's good to have all those things laid out. But what about other professionals? Are there things that professionals kind of, I guess, need to be involved in starting a small business?
Yeah, I would say that just about any business is going to need to have a lawyer that's kind of their lawyer. You know, we talk a lot at our firm about we want to be people's lawyer for life, and this is a good example of when it's really nice to be able to have a professional. You can walk in their office and say, hey, here's what I'm thinking about. What do you think? What should I be considering? So I think definitely you should have a lawyer in your corner, and probably an accountant as well. Someone who can tell you, okay, this is an up and down about whether you want to lease a car for your business, or whether you're going to buy an office building, or how you're going to do your accounting procedures for your business. Those are two right off the bat. And then really depending on what industry you're getting into, you have to think, and I'm always a big proponent of being mentored and mentoring. And it's really a good idea to find someone else who is or has been involved in that business, and starting with them, create a circle of advisors who are going to allow you to, you have something that comes up that you weren't prepared for, talk to them about, what do you think I should do in this situation?
Yeah, what a great idea. I mean, just having that group of people there to help you and to just bounce ideas off, like you said as well. One thing I'm wondering about is right now during the pandemic, so many people are not going into offices. And if they're starting a new business, I could imagine they're starting it from their home. And I know as somebody who does independent contracting, there's a lot of different implications when you run a business out of your home. Is that something that people need to consider right now?
It definitely is. I think right now it's probably even a little more complicated, but there are big advantages and big potential disadvantages of running a business out of your home. A lot of, some of it you have to think about, where do you live? Are you in a condo that has restrictions about operating a business, or what kind of vehicles can be, or how much business traffic can be in there? There are safety concerns. I have, my wife is a massage therapist, and a lot of people will do those kind of businesses out of their home. But you have to think about your own personal safety. Is that a wise place to be bringing people in who you may not know? And then finally, like we talked about with having an accountant, there are important tax considerations if you're going to make your home the location of your business. All of a sudden you have to start thinking about depreciating your home and how much percentage of use of your home is for business purposes and not. And it can get pretty involved, and it can have impact on a future sale of your home or other financial decisions that you make that you might not otherwise think of as being business related. So it can impact a lot of areas, and kind of goes back to having this circle of advisors so you can at least know what the scope of your decision is. A lot of people will just say, well, the rent at home is nothing and the rent here is more. I'll take zero. That's very true, but there's a lot of other things that should be considered.
That's fascinating, just the implications of what it may mean selling your home, things like that. That's why I know it's so important to talk with a professional. We're out of time, but I don't want to, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention your last tip, and that's really when things get tough, staying motivated in the beginning of starting a business. You say to what?
I say to remember why you started the business in the first place. And I think that's a great reminder whether things are going poorly or even if things are going well. Because sometimes we get swept up in early success of a business and we forget about why we did it in the first place. And the wonderful thing about small businesses is that they're owned and operated by people who love what they do. So remember what it is you love, make sure you're giving yourself an opportunity to do that, and stay on whatever the mission is that caused you to open the business in the first place.
Love that. Thanks so much for joining us, Al. Good to see you.
Yeah, take care, Tiffany. Thank you.
You too. Here's some more information. To schedule a free virtual or in-person consultation at McClario, go to McClario.com. You can also follow them on social media at McClario Law, and that's where you can watch their small business series. You can check out their YouTube channel or Facebook as well. It's so much great information. That's starting tomorrow. You can watch that on YouTube and Facebook as well.